Welcome back to Amazon Unpacked, the podcast Amazon does not want you to listen to. Today, we are going to talk about debunking some of Amazon's myths about unions and myths about the Teamsters. I'm one of your hosts, Ira, longtime Amazon employee of over 5 years.
My name is Alvin. I've been working with Amazon for, I believe, 2 years and a few months. And I just joined the union cause just a year ago when I first came to DBK4. And I've been fighting alongside my comrades here.
I'm Maria. I've been working at Amazon 4.5 years, first at TPA1 in Florida, and now at DBK4.
How long you been with the union effort?
Pretty much since I got to DBK4, so about 2 years, maybe like a little bit less.
It's been 2 years.
Yes, I know. I'm hitting my 2-year mark in New York in June 1st.
And last but not least,
Hey, I'm Dylan. I've been working at Amazon for over 3 years now. This is my third site. First one I truly grabbed onto the union effort in because quite frankly, it became very prevalent how shit Amazon treats its employees and just how shit bad management can be when they just don't give a fuck about us. Really shows that, the regular working person needs a union.
so today we're talking about as the union campaign picks up, it becomes sort of a battle for the narrative. Amazon likes to do this ideological brainwashing of everybody where they want you to think unions are a specific thing that behave in a bad, scary way. They'll tell you the union or the Teamsters is this third party that comes out and they just want your money. They just want your money. The reality is that the union is you and you are the union. And if it has some people from outside your workplace, that's generally just workers from other companies or other workplaces. So Amazon really trains you to like third party the union, thinking of it as outsiders. And we're going to go through some of the most prevalent myths that they've been circulating in the warehouse and debunk those. So which one do we want to talk about first?
A very popular one that a lot of union busters start off with is how if you choose to be pro-union, not even fully unionized, but choose to be pro-union, you lose your benefits.
They even posted on big posters in the warehouse that are like, if you join the union, you could get more, you could get the same, or you could get less. And they'll be like, unionizing, you could lose the benefits we give you now. You don't want to lose what we've already got. One of the big ones is they're like, your scheduling flexibility. With Amazon, we flex with you. If you need some time off, we give you the time off. What's the one with the baby?
Oh yeah, the Teamsters don't care about childcare.
About that, you have less flexibility with a union. Like you'd have like less shift flexibility and stuff like that. So your baby will be crying because you're at work and slaving away
Yes,
for
your
Amazon
horrible,
under a union.
your
But it
horrible, ugly AI baby. Yes.
it just doesn't make any sense because like you build and fight for the contract that you want. So like as a group at our warehouse, why would we collectively fight to lose the benefits that we already have? Like it's just it doesn't make any sense. Like at
I think
all.
that is the largest piece of clarity that comes with this, that the ball is in our court. When we're a good
Right.
union, when we're a strong union, we're holding Amazon by the balls. We're the people who are going to run the warehouse. It's not, they can't dictate shit to us when we have the power.
Yeah, and just on the baby thing, just for listeners who haven't seen it, they posted this big display that is this giant picture of a baby crying in a crib. And it says, can't get work off for a family emergency? Amazon flexes with you. Teamsters won't.
You already
Big
can't get
lie.
work off in an emergency. When the gas was leaking at my apartment and I had to leave, I had to go to HR and I'm like, hey, I'm like, there's a gas leak, like an active leak. We're calling the fire department. I need to leave. And they go to check if you have UPT before you go. It's like, no, this is an emergency. I'm telling you I'm leaving. Like, just excuse the time. Like, it's already not flexible with emergencies.
Yeah, and Maria, it's like you and Alvin both said. The basic thing is we get to choose what we fight for. And if we want
Right.
to fight for more schedule flexibility, that's what we're going to fight for. Just a second. Looks like Tyree wants to join.
Does Tyree know this is a podcast?
Well, let's ask him. This can be one of those ones people floating in and out. Is that you, Tyree?
Yeah. So
Cool. So, Ty, do you want to introduce yourself?
my name is Tyree. Most of y'all should know me. But you can call me Ty. Yeah, I've been with Amazon for a year and like 4 months.
What we're talking about is Amazon's union busting and the myths they spread. We were just saying that when they talk about where Amazon right now gives you all this schedule flexibility, and you're going to lose that if you join the Teamsters. We were just saying that fighting for a union contract means you build on benefits you already have. It doesn't wipe the slate clean and then make you start from scratch, right? In fact, anytime you're pushing for a union, it's actually illegal for them to start taking things from you because of the union drive. On top of that, when you're in a union together, you're standing and fighting together, you have more power. In what situation does having more power get you less?
I think a lot of where they're getting traction from this whole losing benefits if we unionize, they're trying to say that the Teamsters are coming in to make a one-to-one kind of copy of their contract and paste it onto Amazon almost.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is contracts at other companies, they're not going to look like our contract at Amazon because they were different
Yeah.
companies to start with. People had different issues and they fought for different things. If we want, we can actually say we want more PTO, we want more voluntary time. Like we can say if we want to fight for even more flexibility, that's what we're going to fight for.
Yeah.
All right, there's this next myth that Amazon puts out there. The union speaks for you. If you join the union speaks for you.
I think a lot of people are misconstruing, oh, it's going to be a third party speaking for us. They don't really get what creates this union is the people on the floor who work, not people coming in from the outside.
It's supposed to be a collection of everyone coming towards to be a strong voice against the company. But the point is that you have a choice to put in what your opinions are into what that voice is. When the union comes
Respectfully.
together, we finally get them to the bargaining table where we can start talking about the contract that we want. That's where we vote together what we want out of the job. And of course, Amazon will try their best to union bust and make sure that a lot of people don't want to vote or a lot of people feel indifferent to the whole thing. But if we believe in it strongly and we really, really want these benefits that we've dictated and we have the power to back it up, that means that we're all ready to go on strike whenever Amazon comes at us. We're ready to go on strike. We have that type of power. That's when we can finally get these benefits. Then we get a good bargain, if I can say that word rightly.
I mean, that was essentially what I was gonna say. It's just that the union is us. The union, like, representative may speak for us, like, at a certain point, but we're also the union too. So, I think it's just a scare tactic.
Yeah, it's part of their way of making the union be like these outsider boogeymen when really we are the union.
Make it feel like something unknown, something to be afraid of. Maybe the mafia, we don't know.
There used to be a lot of mafia members inside the Teamsters.
Oh no, my pop said that too.
Wait,
Unions
really?
back then, he was only mafia. To him, were only mafia motherfuckers he would talk to.
Yeah, I mean, if you think
Wait,
about
the mafia was a union?
no, no, but they're
No, no,
both.
no.
They
The
got
mafia. There was a
introduced.
lot of mafia people in the union.
Oh, I
I
was
mean,
like,
Yeah, to
that's
make money
crazy.
off of it.
think about it like this: if you've got a union that's growing and it's got
Mhm.
resources, and some people want a piece of that, they might try to infiltrate it. And the mafia did try to infiltrate the Teamsters, and they did a pretty good job, like 70, 80 years ago. But it was the members themselves, right? It was the Teamster members themselves that organized to kick the mafia out. So that was members protecting their own resources, protecting their own union. And now we have,
Cool.
fiduciary laws that protect our money a lot stronger. Also, if you think about it, like our workplace, there's people who are part of all kinds of organizations in our workplace. So when we unionize, yeah, there's going to be, the people who belong to different organizations in our union because they're part of our workplace. We're not going to like exclude people on the basis of them belonging to some other organization.
That's a cute way to word it, Ira.
But no, the mafia does not control the Teamsters. The other thing about this, the union speaks for you thing. One thing they'll say is like, oh, you lose your direct relationship to management. So one thing is when you have a union, it automatically triggers certain rights. So you have what are called
Hmm.
wine garden rights. And the wine garden right says you have a right to not have to face management alone. If management ever comes to you and they're like, hey, we need to talk, or hey, we got this thing you need to sign, or we've got an adapt or write up, you can say, I want to have my union rep here, my steward. They have to then bring, they can't talk to you unless you've got your union rep there. And that union rep, in most cases, that's a rep that you elect, right? The workplace elects that union rep to be in the workplace with you. You just elect it from amongst your coworkers. So, you'll have a steward election. Everyone in the workplace votes on who amongst themselves they want to be the union rep at work. And that's your steward. And management can't discipline you. They can't pull you into the office and pull you aside like they're gonna fire you. But you have the right to say, no, stop. I want my union rep here. And then that union rep makes sure Amazon's not violating the law, violating the contract, and they'll make sure that they play by the book. And even if you don't have a steward yet, like you haven't elected your union rep, you can be like, I invoke my wine garden rights. I don't want to talk to you unless I've got a trusted coworker as a witness. So when they say the union speaks for you, one thing they're talking about is, oh, we can't single you out and get you in a room alone and with no witnesses, because fellow members of the union now have the right to be in there with you. Maria, so you brought up that we wanted to talk about Amazon's posts about the Teamsters costing jobs. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you want to, just for those who haven't seen that poster or that display, describe it exactly?
It was literally like in the break room. It was just on a big TV screen. And if I remember correctly, pretty much all it said was Teamsters cost 34,000 jobs. No other backup information, like nothing to support that. It's just causing like misinformation and kind of confusion because it makes people question, did they really, but not giving any clarity.
I think I can shed some light on that. I did some research on exactly what they were talking about a pretty long time ago during one of our meetings. But what that's talking about is this trucking company called Yellow. You might have seen it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
that's what it
yeah,
was.
those trucks. Yeah. So basically, that company filed for bankruptcy very recently, and that's what that job loss is talking about. And the main thing to note with that is that Yellow's been around for a long time, and they've been losing money even before the Teamsters stepped in. Their profits were not profitable till 2022, when they went bankrupt. So they were working in the red for a long time before even the Teamsters came in and unionized it.
You're
Unionize
talking about
Yellow.
Yellow?
Yeah.
Yeah, yellow.
Yeah.
They were also in massive debt to the government because they kept having to get bailed out, and this is not even like due to the pandemic or anything. The recession was a part of it too, and they had a lot of bailouts and a lot of outstanding debt.
Yellow got enough investors to stay afloat that last time, right? And the company owner just said no.
When I first saw that post on Amazon, I was kind of taken aback because I was like, Teamsters cost 34,000 jobs. I was like, that's kind of crazy. But like I met someone that got laid off, and it kind of gave some outside clarity to things. He had told me something along the lines of like the company went bankrupt. It wasn't due to the Teamsters. So I don't know. It's just like when you see something like that, you have to know it's a bold-faced lie.
One of the more recent displays is they actually do show a headline clipping, like from a newspaper, that says Yellow files for bankruptcy, costing some thousands of jobs. And then they'll repeat the Yellow line that, like, oh, we're going bankrupt because the Teamsters are demanding too much of us and they're threatening to strike us and we can't afford that. So we're going to just go bankrupt.
At the time when the Teamsters were asking for the contract, I'm fairly certain Yellow could have fucking afforded it. It's just the fucking business malpractice of Yellow led to their fucking recession.
Yeah, and basically Yellow started acquiring other smaller logistics companies. They started buying up other logistics companies, and they were specifically buying up non-union logistics companies. Part of the reason they were doing this is because they wanted a non-union workforce. They didn't like having union members, so they wanted a non-union workforce, so they started buying up other companies that were kind of going into the red. And they spent so much money buying up other companies that they themselves started going bankrupt. If you spend billions of dollars buying companies that are already bankrupt, you yourself, like they went bankrupt for a reason. They're fucked up. If that's now you, you're fucked up now too. Taking out loans to buy all these companies, they couldn't repay the debt, so they got a bailout from the government. And then what they tried to do is they tried to be like, hey, Teamsters, half of our workforce is now non-union because we bought up all these non-union companies. You're going to have to now take cuts, cut your pay, cut your benefits, and go down to the level of these non-union workers that we just brought in. You're going to have to go down to their level so that we can stay afloat. They went back and forth, And the Teamsters actually did agree to $5 billion in cuts to their benefits and pay to help alleviate the financial pressure on Yellow. But then the company was demanding more and more cuts and a weaker contract. And the Teamsters were like, fuck that. If you cut any more, we're going to go on strike. So then that's when the company was like, we can't afford to repay our loans to the government. We can't afford to repay everything that we just spent buying up all these companies to try to crush you. You guys aren't agreeing to all these cuts. So then they're like, just fuck it. We're gonna go bankrupt and blame it on the Teamsters.
They fully got investors to get them out the fucking red. They just still decided to fucking blame the Teamsters
Because it's an
irrationally.
easy cop out.
One of our strongest leaders amongst the drivers was one of the people laid off by Yellow, and he still wants the Teamsters, right? He's like, yep, let's bring the Teamsters in. And he was at Yellow before.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Do you think that Amazon will try to do that and go bankrupt?
Oh, hell no.
Amazon's so fucking profitable. They've got so much money.
Remember, they're the first American business to be a multi-trillion-dollar company,
Gotta love
and their
it.
profits are only going up.
I mean, I really don't understand why union is so bad. If like the red vest and stuff, they're not even a part of the union. So why are they trying to like
Because
It's
discourage the
part
like?
of their contract.
part of their training.
Yeah, training.
The top of the chain of command for management is, it's the board of directors, like the CEO and all them. They have a responsibility, like a legal responsibility to shareholders, and they view a union as something that is going to make it harder for them to maximize returns for their shareholders. So they're almost legally obligated to oppose the union. And that's the top of the chain of command of management. So, they issue those dictates on down. So Amazon managers, according to their job, they're really supposed to oppose the union.
Yeah, so in their training video, they literally says like, "Oh, we're not anti-union, but we're not for them either. We have a responsibility," and they put it in big, bold lettering. They're shareholders,
Ew.
like straight up. It's in their fucking training. They don't have a responsibility to do good by us. They have a responsibility to do good by the shareholders. And I think like another like just bullshit source they're bringing in is Freedom Foundation. Remember that shit? That shit sent me up a wall. Freedom Foundation is a literal anti-union firm made specifically where they send people to try and get people to decommit from the union so they can cripple existing unions. And they were having it plastering all these experiences saying like, "Oh, I'm so glad I decommitted from my union," specifically from people who were worked on by the Freedom Foundation.
So Amazon will post all these testimonies from like this worker hated their union, and they'll post a quote that's like, we had a union and they did nothing for us and we voted them out. I'm so glad. That's like a quote from some worker somewhere, and it'll be like, source, the Freedom Foundation.
When you look up the Freedom Foundation, it's literally some of the most backward propaganda I've ever heard. They call unions unconstitutional.
Yeah.
I got a question, right? You see like all like the new TVs that's in the break room, right? Can't can't somebody like Bluetooth their phone to it and change what's on it?
Yeah.
That probably would not be protected concerted activity, though. They probably could. They could legally discipline us for doing that. They can probably check whose phone is connected through.
You think so?
I think so.
Because we could put like
It
pro
would have to
Teamster
be
stuff in
really
there
bad.
during break time and people walk in and see it.
We'll have to be
We
careful. I
Yeah.
really don't think that's protected activity, though. We'll have to be careful with that.
Look, right, the most it's gonna say is like your name and then phone is connected. Like this person's phone's connected.
Yeah.
And that's enough to be incriminating.
All right. What about this claim that Amazon's always like hearing promises from the Teamsters that sound too good to be true? They probably are. Nothing is guaranteed.
What about the promises from Amazon that's not guaranteed?
Exactly. They're outing themselves with that one.
Right. Amazon's like the people who'd be like, we're gonna turn your $100 into $1,000.
You mean a pyramid scheme?
And nothing ever happens. You just get ripped off.
Yeah. But the thing also, I've never heard the Teamsters promise me anything. I've never heard anyone affiliated with a union promise anything. All I've ever heard is, let's get together and fight for some shit. Like, if you take on any fight with anyone, of course you're not guaranteed to win.
Right.
But you got a much better chance of winning what you're fighting for if you're fighting alongside other people, if you're all pulling in the same direction, if you're not by yourself, right?
Definitely.
Do we want to talk about dues a little bit right now, actually? They used to say you'll have to pay dues even if you don't win a raise. Now they started saying you might have to pay dues even if you don't win a raise. The thing is, and then they say like signing a union card has consequences. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
if you want to speak for yourself, don't sign a card. If you don't want to pay dues, don't sign a card. If you don't want people visiting at your house, don't sign a card.
Yeah,
I love
uninvited.
that one.
No kind of heads up. Just shows up at your house talking about the big bad mafia union.
Right. But on the dues point, we can pretty much guarantee you don't pay dues unless you win a raise because when does the dues kick in? How would the union treasurer even get your money? You would have to authorize a paycheck deduction, and you're not going to authorize that unless you sign a contract. And you're not going to sign a contract unless that contract gets you a big ass raise that's more than your dues. So there's literally no conceivable process like under this contract scheme where you would end up paying dues, but you don't get, more than your dues are worth.
It's just them doing another scare tactic to misinform people that maybe we haven't talked to yet or something. That's like all it is.
The other thing about that too is like dues are important. Do you really want a weak organization? You want to like if we pay for the organization, it's our organization. We run it. If we're like, no, we're not going to pay dues, you're going to have a weak ass organization. You're not going to feel ownership over that organization. Whoever pays for an organization owns that organization. We should want a good, strong organization.
Like if Amazon is putting out false information about the Teamsters, can't the Teamsters do something about that?
No, actually, it's pretty well established that Amazon is under no obligation to tell the truth. It's freedom of speech.
Is that like written down that Amazon is freedom of speech and they can lie to you, they don't have to tell the truth?
That's a
Because if it
constitutional
is,
right.
Yeah, it's court
It's
precedent.
Yeah, it's a
all right,
constitutional right, freedom of
because
speech.
people could use that as an advantage to like fight back against that because it's like y'all telling us this stuff, but y'all have freedom of speech, y'all have rights to lie to us. Like y'all don't gotta tell us the truth. And y'all
Yeah.
spying on us on top of that. Y'all spying on us. When you log into their Wi-Fi, they can monitor your stuff. People should know that too, because a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, Amazon has the
Yeah.
legal right to lie to us, and they fucking monitor us.
Yay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to hit on this idea that they put up that they've been blowing up everywhere that they say the about the Teamster pension fund? Yeah, so it's like in 2002 the federal government had to pay to bail out the Teamster pension fund. Does this sound like people who are responsible with your money?
I think that's a good thing to bring up, though.
So if you research that, you'll see that indeed the Teamster pension fund, it needed to be bailed out in 2022, and the federal government spent tens of billions of dollars bailing out the Teamster pension fund, right? That sounds really scary. Sounds like, oh, they're not responsible stewards of our money. So that's sort of the idea they're trying to put out there.
But isn't that more of a solid idea for the fucking government to actually step in and see that it's valuable enough to bail out?
So in 2022, what was happening in 2022 in America?
COVID?
COVID, yeah.
2022 feels so long ago. Who was in office? Was it Biden?
Yes.
Fuck if I know. 2022. Night shift is like rotting my brain.
I feel like Trump was just president like 2 years ago.
That's what
He
I'm
was
saying.
he
I
was
feel like
actually
I'm in.
president 4 years ago.
It doesn't feel like it though.
I feel like I'm in a time loop right now.
Okay, so yeah, COVID was happening, and what did COVID do to the economy?
Stunted it.
It
Apparently.
boosted it.
Boost?
Everybody had money.
No one was
COVID was
giving
its
the
hub.
money.
Everybody had money and COVID was its hub.
He's playing with
where
me right now, right?
You get people to go out and actually have fun and spend money.
I know you lying.
No.
Well,
The world was at peace. There was no political tensions.
I was down bad. That's when I started working for Amazon. I think was in 2021. It was bad.
He gave the stimulus.
yeah.
Oh, give
He
me
did-
another
okay.
stimmy.
So, no, he did give the stimulus. Biden did give the
I
stimulus.
didn't fucking get the
No,
stimulus. I had to wait
Trump
till
gave it, not
Christmas.
Biden.
Trump gave us stimmies.
Fucking didn't get shit.
No, 2021, Biden was president. 2022, Biden was president.
Yeah.
Not
No.
2021.
Yeah, he
2021,
was.
Trump was president. No.
Yeah, Trump was still president in 2021.
Biden got inaugurated January 20th, 2021.
So Trump was still president in 2021 for 19 days. So we're not technically wrong.
Exactly.
No.
So during the pandemic, the economy basically stopped because everything had to shut down. You remember everyone was out of work.
Yeah.
And there was a big stimulus that was passed. But remember, the stock market completely crashed. Everyone's pensions were going down the drain. Companies were going bankrupt. Banks were going bankrupt. So COVID like fucked up the economy bad. And so the government had to bail out the economy and they had to help support people because people couldn't work because everything was closed, right?
Mhm.
So that stimulus money where people were getting unemployment checks, that's what you were talking about, right, Ty?
Well, I was talking about the checks, yeah, because there's people getting checks, but Stibby V, that's what I was talking about, the checks, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody had money. It was people that had no money before, and then now they got money. Like people was living different lives. It was a different time. People was nice, generous, good time.
I can't
Well,
fucking believe you're still carrying this line. Holy shit.
Well, during COVID, there were two bailouts. So the government spent trillions of dollars bailing out the economy, and they bailed out different banks, they bailed out different funds, they bailed out.
But hold on, can I say something too? Another thing.
Oh
If
God.
because we're trillions of dollars in debt, right? If we're in so much debt, how y'all get the trillions of dollars out of nowhere to just bail us out? Like, give
They
us
had their
another
printers
stimmy.
working.
You just print
Give
that money.
use
They
the
printed more
printers.
money.
Give us another stimmy. Make everybody happy.
Give us another stimmy.
Anyway, so during the economy, the federal government printed a bunch of money and bailed everyone out. As individuals, we got checks, banks
Yeah.
got checks, companies got checks, small businesses got checks
During the
Mhm.
pandemic, you said during the economy.
during the pandemic. Yeah. So when Amazon's talking about the Teamsters pension being bailed out, everyone was being bailed out at the time. And it was the economy that crashed that caused it, not mismanagement. But the funny thing is, that should be an argument for joining a union because the fact that the Teamsters have enough power that they could make sure that their members' pensions were getting bailed out and being backed by the government, that's a pretty fucking strong argument for joining the Teamsters because a lot of people lost everything.
So true. So true.
Yeah, so it's just funny. They throw out all these things. Teamsters mismanaged themselves into bankruptcy. No, the fucking economy crashed, dumbasses. All right, that's all for today. This has been another episode of Amazon Unpacked, the podcast Amazon does not want you to listen to. Once again, I'm one of your co-hosts, Ira.
I'm Maria. Thanks for having me on my first podcast, and hopefully I get to join more.
I'm Ty. Thanks for having me. Enjoy your nights.
This is Dylan. Until next time, thank you for joining yet another Amazonians Unpacked podcast. Amazon Unpacked podcast? Shit. Don't look at me.
Wait, someone has to sign off for Alvin because he left prematurely.
And Alvin left early to go to a doctor's appointment, so Big Al.
Wait, don't put his business out.
Alvin
I have to.
Alvin left early because he's a little bitch, so
Yeah, Alvin left early because he's an asshole.
I
That's
am
all.
never leaving the podcast early. Get roasted.
Right,
Party
take-
foul if you do. You owe
That's
you
great.
owe more
I know.
drinks.
Yep.
No, I can't keep up with anybody.